Houston Real Estate Radio.
Welcome to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and we are broadcasting on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. And we're your voice for Texas real estate news and information you can use. We are coming to you from the RREA.com studio over in Spring, Texas. You can join us here every Sunday from 2 to 3 for the latest in real estate news and information. Today we're talking with Todd from Texas ProTax. And we talked last week at length with Don Sumners and Jim Robinson from the Appraisal District and got a lot of great information on how they come up with your property taxes through the Appraisal District and how they collect them and when they're due, and just lots of great information. So wanted to bring Todd on today just to sort of talk about his company and how he can help consumers and kind of take us through the process of what he does. So welcome to the show, Todd.
Well, thank you, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
So your company is based in Harris County. You can help residents all over Harris County.
Yes, we do.
And what do y'all do?
What we do is we file and hear and settle appeals with the Appraisal District for their property value protests for residential and commercial clients.
And what sort of fee structure is that?
Our fees for residential properties are 40% of the taxable savings. So what you would actually save in taxes, not the value of the reduction, but what you would save in taxes, our fees are based off that for residential customers.
Okay. And, there are some people out there who would say, well, I can, go fight my property taxes myself. But really, you're providing a service for people who, one, don't want to mess with all of that, right. Because you have to know the process. You have to know what to do. Sure. And two, don't have the time. I mean, there are a lot of people who get that bill in the mail and, they barely have time to write the check, let alone go and fight the property taxes.
You're right. And the time is a big issue. Time, I look at it, there's about 2 or 3 things that I think that a property owner faces when they go to an appeal. One is the time. Your hearing might be scheduled for 9 o'clock in the morning, but so are several hundred other people, and you could get there and it could be 9:30, 9:45, depending on the log of people that are already there prior to you. Also, it's the materials, the data. MLS data, understanding of unequal appraisal, things like that. The normal property owner doesn't have access to those things. As a person that works in this business, we have access to MLS data. We have access to the full HCAD property roll for all properties, residential properties in Houston or in Harris County, and also just the knowledge of how the system works and what is more
effective.
Exactly.
You see it every day. You know what's going to work.
What is the Appraisal District going to look at, and what are they going to not look at? What is the Appraisal Review Board going to look at, and what are they going to not look at? It might be overwhelming to them. Mm-hmm. I put it this way. I can change the oil in my car, but I can't, and I'll do that myself, but when it really comes to the really intricate parts of it, I'm going to take it to somebody that's professional, and hopefully they'll get to it and do it right.
Well, you're really doing all the legwork for the consumer, correct, which is really nice. I mean, a lot of people don't really know where to start trying to collect that data, so you're kind of taking the work out of it for them, going and collecting all the data. What sort of things do you use to present your case?
Well, a lot of the information that we receive comes from what's called the House Bill 201 information. House Bill 201 is part of the Texas Property Tax Code that the chief appraiser has to provide all the information he or she is going to use or may not use in a hearing. That includes all the sales data in your neighborhood code, all the residential properties in your neighborhood code. One of the things that property owners sometimes forget is if you live in a neighborhood that has sections 1 through 6, well, your neighborhood code might be section 1 and others might follow, and your friend might live in section 6, but it might be a comparable property, but it's in a different neighborhood code, and you have to understand how those work. And so we have access to all that data from all those properties and split up into neighborhood codes, and it helps us to to understand how HCAD values your property in that neighborhood code.
What are some of the mistakes that you see that homeowners make? I mean, I hear a lot of homeowners say, I went all the way down there, I presented these MLS comps that you emailed me, and they still wouldn't lower my taxes. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see that homeowners do?
Well, there is a big difference between a real estate and how it sells and how things are appraised. Let's take, for instance, you have a 3,200 square foot home in a neighborhood. That 3,200 square foot home and one down the street that is around 3,200 square feet, they might be the same size. But however, one might have a pool, one might have a bigger lot, one might have more porches, more patios. It might be a better grade of construction. So those issues, it's not apples to apples a lot of times. It might be green apples to red apples, but you've got to make those adjustments. And one of the things that I see a lot of times that property owners do is they'll come in or they'll call our office and say, well, my neighbor down the street is valued much less than I am. And I'll look it up and I'll say, well, you're a different grade class of construction, so you are going to be higher, and we have to adjust. It just can't be dollar for dollar, or he's at $100 a foot and I'm at $110. Why am I so much higher? I should be lower. In a homogeneous neighborhood, that might work, but in a lot of the neighborhoods that we see, Bel Air, Westview, Southampton Place, Oak Forest, all those, you're going to have a wide variety of homes in those neighborhoods, age of construction, and those things have to be adjusted for, and the property owner will make that mistake and not see that. Another mistake is they'll say, my property value per foot is, so much higher than everybody else's. Well, the idea that your house is a 3,200 square foot home and theirs is a 4,000, the economy of scale is going to be different. That 3,200 square foot home is going to have a higher cost per square foot than a lower, and so you have to make those adjustments. That's one of the biggest issues. The other is not being prepared or being over prepared. I love my engineer clients, but the graphs and charts and all these things, you're going to lose most people in the process because they're looking at a specific type of data, and graphs and charts and all these straight line kind of graphs. It's overkill.
Throws them off.
Throws them off. And most of the ARB members don't have a real estate background, or they're very educated, they're very talented, but however they don't have that background or an engineering background to follow that, and it gets lost in the shuffle, and
Sure.
So people get very frustrated. So you just not having access to data.
Yeah. Do you think that bringing photos of your home and showing that it has some problems, that it's an older home, that it has termites, that it has this or that, and it's going to bring down the what it's valued at. Do you think bringing in those pictures helps?
Oh, most definitely. One of the biggest issues we face as property tax consultants is we understand from getting information from a property owner that they might have construction issues or any kind of issues to the property, but pictures, estimates for repairs, the old adage of pictures speak 1,000 words, they truly do in this. Because if I say they have rotted siding, but I show a picture, and I say it's going to cost them this X amount to repair, then it really helps the process, and it helps the appraiser get through the process to understand how much he or she needs to discount the property for those kind of issues.
Yeah, I would think that would be persuasive evidence.
Yes, exactly.
And they do give you kind of their evidence online, what they're going to be using kind of against you to be able to kind of see what where their point of view is coming from. Is that right?
That is right. And that's another thing, a mistake property owners make, that they need to make sure that when their hearing is scheduled, at that time on HCAD's website, they can access that information through the iFile services and look at their evidence, see what the appraisal district has. HCAD is one of them. In all 28 counties that I've worked in, they provide so much information for property owners to appeal their property taxes. And it's good for them to property owner to be able to go in, look at the information, be prepared to know what's coming up, and even understanding and reading the information, even the supplemental information that you get with your evidence. Read through that and it's a valuable tool that a lot of property owners miss.
Yeah, and just because you think your home is should be taxed lower doesn't mean it should be taxed lower. You know, it has to have needs some valid reasoning behind it. This is a busy time of year for you. When does busy season start for you and end?
Well, the appeal process. Most property owners can file their protest by the deadline is May 31st or 30 days after they receive their notice, up to 30 days. If HCAT has started noticing people a lot earlier in the year, late March, early April, and you can turn around and file a protest, and they've started hearing accounts earlier. So I have been actually going at this since May. And we're May, and I'll probably end up in sometime late August of before I finish up my portfolio.
And if somebody wants to contact you because they do want help appealing their property taxes, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach us by calling our office at 713-586-8870, or they can go on our website at texasprotax.com. We also have an Austin office, so if you have property up in the hill country or in Central Texas, they can access information there on our website or here in Harris County.
For more information, you can visit us online at rrea.com/radio. We have videos, and we record the shows, and they're on there. Previous shows, if you missed last week's show, you can go back and follow up on that, and all of our shows are recorded on there. So visit us online, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.